Hello, and welcome to Anime Audio Commentary. Today I'll be commenting on episode 6 of The Great Jahy Will Not Be Defeated. If you'd like to watch along, then start watching now. So last we left off, Jahy had a bit of a run-in with the magical girl from before. You know, at first it was a false alarm and she just kinda got arrested by the cops, but then she actually met the magical girl. And while she wasn't recognized for who she truly is, the magical girl certainly wanted to take that mana crystal, allegedly for Jahy's own well-being. And interestingly enough, it was the landlord that came in clutch in the end. Now, it would be foolish to think that the magical girl has been vanquished once and for all by the landlord and the police. So, naturally, she's gonna show up again, but the question is, what's the catch here, Because, every character we've seen from the Dark World or from, the previous conflict, there's something going on. Obviously Jahy's not doing too well. Druj is doing a lot better than could reasonably be expected, and Sarva is, suffering her own brand of horrible bad luck. But okay, so Jahy's just jumping at shadows. I was gonna say, surely we're not getting back into real conflict this early, right? But, I feel like the magical girl, there's gotta be a catch here, sure, she's considerably powerful and driven single-mindedly towards her goal, but, there's gotta be something else going on, some complication. If I had to guess, it's, she's probably someone Jahy knows, or at least someone who lives locally, and, only transforms when need be. So, Jahy's making a big mistake here that, declaring she would stand and fight, because, that's a good way to get beaten mercilessly. Of course, her boasts don't stand up to scrutiny, but, man. It's over when you have to hide in a garbage can. Now, the question is hiding in the garbage as she is suspicious enough to warrant police intervention? Because it certainly wouldn't be the first time. In fact, it would be the fourth or fifth time, and I feel like at some point, you would actually just have to arrest Jahy and incarcerate her. Oh dear. Yeah, so, despite all of her bluster, there's no way she can stand up in a fight to the magical girl, and, she's at least cognizant of this fact, which, probably for the best. Is imagine if she thought she could fight on even terms and then just got, absolutely bodied. Funny though that would be, it would kind of end things rather quickly. Although speaking of ending things rather quickly, I can't help but notice she no longer has that little mana crystal she was holding on to. And when you get down to it, this is perhaps the biggest tragedy that could possibly befall her. I mean, on the one hand, that's the thing that was attracting the magical girl to her, so, she need not worry, but... Well, I guess she need not worry because her boss is right there to help her. But, man, it's kind of anticlimactic. Man, it really is nice that Jahy has such a supportive boss who's willing to help her in many regards. Man. If I had a boss like that... Whoa, buddy. Man, so now Jahy has to play things cool. Like, oh no, I wasn't totally fearing for my life. Man. It's incredible how the boss knows what precisely to say to just puncture her pride. It's like, look, you don't have to pretend, you don't gotta bottle it up. We'll help you. Thinking about it, I'm not sure just how much help the boss would be. Because, the magical girl seems to have some... some sense of morality in that she won't attack innocent people. So I guess, the landlord could put her in an armbar or something. Huh. So it seems like Jahy has decidedly not learned her lesson here. It turns out you can rely on other people a little bit. I think the old saying goes, no man is an island. But, man, mind your own business. But you smell like trash. Yeah, mind your own business indeed. So is she really just not gonna rectify the issue? Wow. Surely this won't cause problems in any way. I mean, yes, that lady might have a mana crystal, but she's dressed nicely, and, if you approach her smelling like hot garbage, something tells me this is only going to end in a call to the police. Ooh. It's probably not a good idea to say, hey, that thing doesn't belong to a human like you. To sort of, imply that you're something other than human. That's not good, You probably shouldn't do that. Ooh. I think we found the magical girl here, seeing as how she's saying, oh, you came to me. Wow, that was fast. I was kind of expecting a big elaborate transformation sequence that could be reused to save time, but... Man. Jahy's really stepped in it now. I feel like the only way she could possibly get out of a situation like this is precisely because she smells like garbage. Oh. Well, I'm not sure what to make of that, walking into an open manhole. But, maybe Jahy's right, and they really do cause bad luck for people. And for one reason or another, the boss is just immune by virtue of being such a good, kind-hearted person. Alright, yeah, this is bad luck worthy of a gypsy's curse or something. Like a flower pot falling on your head from the top of a building. If it weren't so comedic, it would be fatal. Oh no. So Jahy's taking the worst possible approach, acting as though she was responsible for this victory, rather than just sheer bad luck and circumstance. If Jahy were smart, she would have just finished off the magical girl when the opportunity presented itself. Wow. So clearly the magical girl is something else. if she wants to take all this misfortune upon herself. She strikes me as being darkness-like. You know, Darkness from Konosuba, where it's like, oh no, wouldn't it be horrible if a bunch of people beat me? Wow. I'm not sure what to make of this, because I thought this was going to be like a horrible person suffering from bad luck, but, you know, not only does she suffer from bad luck, but she enjoys it. Although at this point, I feel like you can't really call it luck if you're dropping an entire penthouse's worth of furniture out the window. You know, like, bad luck I don't think covers it. This is sort of like metaphysical meddling that causes horrible things to happen. I mean, I guess it's kind of a nitpick, but that's like a little thing that gets me. Like, I feel like bad luck has to be, like, depicted as, like, reasonable, you know? Like, something that could reasonably happen normally, but, like, you chalk it up to bad luck. So, you know, seeing as how Jahy is gloating, I think it's a pretty sure sign that fortune is about to, turn on her. Oh, here we go. Okay, we're actually getting a transformation sequence now. That's nice, I suppose, but, I don't see how that'll help her from all the horrible wounds from being crushed by furniture. Yeah, you know, just to transform like this in public, I feel like, this doesn't bode well. Okay, so Jahy is really in a pickle now. She lost her big mana crystal to the magical girl, and, you know, it's pretty clear that physical violence isn't going to solve the problem, either from Jahy or from incidental accidents. So the question is, how's she going to get out of this? You know, I feel like, oh, man, it's over when you have to drown your sorrows like this. Oh dear. Although I feel like Jahy's just gonna have to enlist the help of, like, the boss and the landlord to go beat up this magical girl or something. You know, this isn't something she can do on her own, and I feel like she doesn't have the guile to trick her. You know? Oh, that's interesting. That Jahy can hold her liquor, because I would feel like, I don't know. I feel like this would be a good opportunity for Jahy to get sloppy drunk. Well, you know, that is something, come to think of it, you know. Small mercy that the original mana crystal she had wasn't stolen, although that original crystal is fairly limited as it is. So, you know, it's pretty nice that the boss just sort of play along and listen to this story. Like, obviously, well, maybe not obviously, but, like, I don't think she really cares. But she's just sort of doing the bartender thing of listening to people and, you know, just sort of, like, catering to them a little bit. You know, it's a skill, because if you're a bartender, you kind of have to just do that. Ooh. You know, it's never a good thing when your landlord catches you drinking. You know, if you have money to drink, you have money to pay rent. So it's unfortunate that the landlord is being pulled into this conflict whereby she starts drinking too. Because I get the feeling like one of these people's gotta be a sloppy drunk, and it's probably the landlord. You know, not to belabor the point, but that's gotta be kind of an unfortunate thing that, like, when you're so used to lording over everyone and now you're a nobody. Especially when you're used to lording over people and just, like, killing anyone you don't like, you know? You can't exactly get away with that in the real world. And more to the point, you know, Jahy's just generally less capable. So it seems to me that this is kind of like a big like second act low point where Jahy's just wallowing in self-pity and things are bad, but that means eventually things are going to turn around, right? You know, if nothing else, she'll score some minor victory over the magical girl. Or maybe like make it back to square one, as it were. You know, this is probably going to be pretty hard to watch for the boss and for the landlord, just because, like, I guess from their perspective, Jahy's never, like, super with it to begin with, but, you know, like, you know it's over when you're drunk and you start crying. You also know it's over when the landlord is being reassuring. Oh, she's plastered. Oh dear. Oh, you know, that's something. There's some common ground. Both Jahy and the landlord are losers who can't do anything without the boss. You know, maybe they can bond over that and fight over rent later. So I guess the real question is the boss gonna help out now? Because I feel like if they're coming to this sort of an understanding, then like really the only thing to do is build on it and commit an act of violence together. You know, I'm just waiting for the landlord to say like, no, I don't like you, or like, yes, you are stupid, or something like that, but she's just like answering all the questions in the affirmative. You know, the boss cut them off, but they're still just going back to drinking. Like, this is not gonna end well. You know, if they don't go after the magical girl, I feel like it's gonna be a very rough night. Not only will it be a rough night, it'll be a rough morning too, and man, I've had some rough nights. Wow. So the boss is just like sitting watching this knowing she should be intervening and just, you know, not. That's it's gonna have dire consequences, I reckon. Ooh. You know it's bad when you wake up in the bar the next morning, next to the landlord. That's how you know it's over. So I guess the real question is, like, where do they go from here? I feel like they've got to have some sort of an understanding. You know, at the very least, like, an understanding to not discuss this ever again. Ooh. So I'm not sure if this is pouring fuel on the fire or what for... Oh no. For the boss to say, like, look, I've got pictorial evidence of you guys being drunk, like, that's bad. I mean, I don't know, maybe the evidence will force Jahy and the landlord to get along. It would be a nice change of pace, but, no such luck, it seems. Alright, so now we're doing a cooking show. Last time we had wrestling, now we're doing a cooking show. I feel like this is ill-fated for Jahy, considering, how little she has to work with, and I would assume, little technical ability so far as cooking. You're cooking bean sprouts, and it seems like she has the bean sprouts and salt to taste, so what do you really do besides fry them in the pan, add a pinch of salt, and then plate it? I get the feeling this is going to be a very disappointing meal. Alright, well, I guess not. She seems, content. I was just thinking, it would be something if there's, a cooking show and it ends up horribly and the chef, as it were, cries on camera. That would be, not a good thing, but it would be funny in its own sort of very bizarre way. So I guess, things have improved marginally. Now we get to add a little bit of oil and what appears to be a little bit of pepper in addition to the salt. I mean, this is practically a Michelin star meal in comparison to the previous meal. I get I'm being kind of sardonic here, but you'd be surprised what you can do with just a little bit of seasoning. You can make otherwise simple dishes that much better. So, super fancy. And what does super fancy mean? It means there's a little secret ingredient. I would wager that little secret ingredient is probably mayonnaise or something. Ah, here we go. Man, look at the big brain on me. Jahy understands that mayonnaise is the apex condiment. You really can't go wrong with it. Okay, so it's just nothing but stir-fried sprouts in various styles. Alright, this is kind of what I was expecting. Jahy is now heartily sick of sprouts and, can't say I blame her. A little bit of variety in your cooking goes quite a long way. Even if you do generally like to eat the same thing day after day. Oh no, the landlord brought sprouts, didn't she? I imagine that's what one of the circles of hell looks like. Alright, well that's it for this episode. If you've enjoyed it, then by all means, tune in for the next one. See you, Space Cowboy.